Hi, I'm Eric Walker, and welcome to yet another review of The Mandalorian. This time we're going to review Chapter 3, which is entitled The Sin. Just so everybody knows, the first part of this review is going to be spoiler-free. When I start discussing the story, I will have a text, or I will tell you guys the spoilers are coming now, just so you know, so you can turn it off if you haven't seen the episode. But wow, Chapter 3, The Sin. Wow, all his glory, Mandalorian. Wow. I didn't think he could get I'm just kind of shaking still from watching that episode. I didn't think it could get better, guys. But it's getting better. This episode is directed by Deborah Chow, so it's our third director in 3 episodes. And it kind of takes place where the last episode left off. But here at All for Sci-Fi, we have a rating system of 0 to 5 stars. So I'm going to go ahead and give the rating right now. I give Chapter 3, The Sin, 5 stars. 5 stars. It's back in its glory. The last episode, I downgraded it 1 star because of all the continuity mistakes and errors. But this episode has no mistakes in it. Absolutely none. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into a full breakdown of this episode. So at this point, I'm going to start discussing spoilers. So if you haven't seen Chapter 3, The Sin, go ahead and hit pause and come back and watch this full breakdown at a later time. Okay, Chapter 3, The Sin, starts off where Chapter 2, The Child, left off. And you have the Mandalorian and the child. And I'm going to call him the child. I'm not going to call him Baby Yoda because there's this whole thing over the internet and people are going crazy. Don't call it Baby Yoda. Even though the filmmakers have now said that they don't care if you call it Baby Yoda. So Chapter 3 starts off where Chapter 2 left off, and you have the Mandalorian and the child on their way back. And on their way back, the Mandalorian gets a call from Grief Karga. And it's kind of neat. You get to see a nice little hologram there. And of course, as they're traveling, the child gets out of its seat again like it did. It's so cute. And on a side note, the producers announced that we're not going to get any Baby Yoda or the child merchandise before Christmas because they wanted to keep it a secret. So we're going to have to wait until next year. But once they release the child, I'm sure everybody's going to be grabbing as many. It's so cute. They're going to be grabbing as many of those toys as they can. So the Mandalorian goes and takes the child back, and he collects his bounty. He gets all that this huge lot of Beskar steel, and you start to see the Mandalorian have a conscience. He's starting to regret. He asks them what they're going to do with the child. Of course, they're dumbfounded and like, what is it in your business? We paid you for this bounty. There's rules with the guild, the bounty hunter guild, and why are you even asking? So he turns in the child, and of course he then gets his huge, big pile of Beskar steel. He takes it back to where the other Mandalorians are. I guess it's called the Coven, which is underground. And this episode, you get to see more Mandalorians, which I think is great. And the rest of the Mandalorians come out, and of course, there's always someone bigger than you, and there's someone bigger than a Mandalorian, another Mandalorian. So he almost gets in a fight with them. And right as they're about ready to start fighting, he picks a fight with him because he's working for the Empire, and the Empire they're the bad guys. They're the ones that stole all the Beskar steel anyway. And the lead woman, the armorer, I guess is what she's called, because she makes all the Mandalorian armor. She reminds them that let's not fight because there's not very many of us left, and we need to all stick together. And then comes a new catchphrase. Just like in episodes 1 and 2, we have Cool's character, Nick Nolte's character, saying, "I have spoken." The Mandalorians have their own catchphrase, and it's going to start catching on. You're going to suddenly start seeing memes everywhere on the internet. The Mandalorian's catchphrase is, "This is the way." So that's repeated many times throughout the episode, and by the end of the episode, You understand that that's just their way of life now, the Mandalorians, after they were torn apart by the Empire. So the new catchphrase is, "This is the way. This is the way." So anyway, the Mandalorian, of course, gets a whole new set of armor. We knew this was going to happen because she made him already a set of armor. So she makes him a new set of armor, and he gets ready to go and leave, and he notices that the ball that the baby was playing with is still not hooked up. So he grabs it and puts it there, and it tugs at his heart, because he's remembering this baby. And I knew it all along. I called it. He decides to take matters into his own hands, and he goes after to go get the baby and save the baby. So they have this huge battle, and he knocks out, like, I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 Imperial stormtroopers. So he gets the baby, and when he comes out with the baby, suddenly all the other tracking beacons, apparently they also gave every single bounty hunter in the universe, they were trying to get everybody to go get this child. So all their beacons go off, so they're all alerted in the cantina, and Grief Karga comes out with all the other bounty hunters, and they trap him inside the marketplace, and huge battle happens. He's taking him out all over the place. He's shooting him. He's with, of course, his, I found out the name of the gun. It's called an amphibian pulse blaster is the name of his gun. This gun right here. This gun right here from the holiday special. It's called an amphibian pulse blaster. So he's taking out a bunch of the guys, but they trap him, and he's trapped, and looks like this is the end. And then suddenly we see all his fellow Mandalorians come to his rescue. They start flying in, and they start shooting him, and the guy he was fighting with earlier flies down, and he says, "We'll cover you. Just take the child and go." So we see like probably 10 or 15 different Mandalorians helping him out. In fact, I think one of them looks like Boba Fett. I swear I kept freezing a frame thinking one of them was Boba Fett, but I guess we'll find out if someone announces if Boba Fett made a quick appearance. But I even, when I froze the frame, I saw one of them had the green armor, and even had the little antenna. I could have swore it might be, well, it's probably not Boba Fett, but anyway, the Mandalorians come to the rescue and help him out of this firefight. So he then goes back to the ship, and Grief Karga is waiting for him. Tells him, "You broke the code, why did you do this?" And then the Mandalorian ends up hitting something, so there's a bunch of steam go off, and he ends up shooting Grief Karga. Grief Karga falls out of the ship, and the Mandalorian takes off. And then later you see Grief Karga laying on the ground, and he grabs some Beskar steel, and you see the Beskar steel actually saved him. So in essence, the Mandalorian saved him even though he shot him. And then the Mandalorian takes off, and then as he's flying away, and he's way up, about ready to go into the atmosphere, you see another Mandalorian flying outside the ship, and he waves to him. And of course, the Mandalorian says, "I gotta get me one of those jetpacks." Guys, this is absolutely the best, the very, very best Star Wars show. It's the first, and they are really hitting it out of the ballpark. I can't even, I'm so emotional right now. I can't even speak practically. Thank you. Mandalorian, Episode 3, The Sin. You got 5 stars here at All for Sci-Fi. Hey guys, if you guys like the videos, please click subscribe below, hit the notification bell so you're notified every time we upload a new video. I'm Eric Walker for All for Sci-Fi saying, see you next week. May the Force be with you. Till the spires.